Okay, guys, let's round out Chapter 7 and finish strong with newborn autopsy rate. And so we know from the gross and the net that right now we're including newborn autopsies with adults and children, but keeping in mind that we can separate the newborns out and complete their own rate, and it's very similar to what you've been seeing: newborn autopsies for a period multiplied by 100 over total newborn deaths for the period. And since you have 711, let's just pop over to 712 and work one of those newborn rates. In November, the newborn unit at Community Hospital reported 3 stillbirths and 2 newborn deaths. An autopsy was performed on one of the newborns and 2 of the stillbirths. Calculate the newborn autopsy rate for November and round to 2 decimal places. So when you take out the stillbirth information, right, so we're going to scratch that out because we know that a stillbirth is your fetal death, a newborn DOA, and we're just trying to drill down to newborns. That when you look at the problem, we've got 1 newborn autopsy multiplied by 100 over a total of 2 deaths for 50.00%. And you have access to 7.13. That one's a fun one, talking about being born in a taxi. And so it's worth pointing out that if how you calculated this may make a difference in this tip right here that I have highlighted. And I know we've talked about this before, but it's worth saying again. Remember that a newborn is an inpatient who was born in a hospital. At the beginning of the current inpatient hospitalization, a newborn born outside the hospital is then admitted and considered a pediatric admission. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's how we count them. So to be a newborn means you've got to be born in the hospital. And if you were born in a taxi or in the parking lot or on the side of the road, that sweet little baby is going to be a pediatric admission and not counted as a newborn because it wasn't born inside the hospital. All right. So fetal autopsy rates, we're going to finally get to our fetals, and you're going to find that it's very familiar to the fetal death rate, whereas we're only dealing with intermediate and late fetal deaths as we were in Chapter 6. So autopsies performed on intermediate and late fetal deaths over the total number of intermediate and late fetal deaths for the same period. So it's autopsies to deaths again, and we're going to only deal with fetal deaths. Okay, so I've got 714, some of the problems already worked out for you, so I'll jump back over here to 134. Table 7.1 goes over what's in the top and the bottom of each of the formulas. I know they do this sporadically throughout the book. I've never really understood why they do it, but they've got all of your rates listed here if you like that format better than the traditional formula or what you may see in Appendix A. So exercise 7.14 says, using the information in the following table, calculate newborn death, fetal death, newborn goodness gracious, newborn autopsy, and fetal autopsy rates for the newborn service at University Hospital. In this exercise, newborn deaths are included in the newborn discharges. Round to 2 decimal places. So you've got University Hospital and the newborn service, the number of births, discharges and deaths, newborn autopsies, and then you've got your fetal death information and then your fetal death autopsies. And so I have the answers for you for newborn death and fetal death rate so you can check yourself if you work those out. Remember, those are a flashback to Chapter 6. But let's take a look and see if I can get it all in there. I think I've got it all in there. Newborn autopsy rate. You're going to take the number of newborn autopsies. So we're going to pop back up here to our chart for 2. Multiplied by 100 over the total number of newborn deaths, 3, for 66.67. In the fetal autopsy rate that we just talked about on the prior page, we're taking intermediate and late fetal autopsies that are listed right here, and we're multiplying them by 100 over intermediate and late fetal deaths. So these guys, right, we're only dealing with these 2 categories. Multiplied by 100 is 30.00%. That brings us to 715, which, y'all, is a lot of work. But the good thing is that information is in the back of the textbook. And the way that you're presented the information in the chart, it is so easy that you can just plug in and practice. So this 715 is an excellent exercise to just practice those, plug into the formula and go, just to make sure that you've got the basics. You round out the chapter with a matching quiz and a review, and then you're finally to the end of Chapter 7. So Chapter 7, Hospital Autopsies and Autopsy Rates. Hopefully you've worked in your workbook. These videos make sense. You were really close to the answers, or right on with the answers in the back of the textbook, and that the even numbers that I worked out here, hopefully you were able to check your work and find out you did well on those. So the next step for you is to print the worksheets and get started on those. See you later.